Hi, this is Nathan. Welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to the pod. I'm Dylan James Weaver, but most folks around here just call me Dylan. Why don't you get the whole family together and join us for another exciting episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
This feels really weird to not introduce a guest.
Yeah, I keep looking to my right.
I know, we did so many guest episodes in a row, which was great. Loved it.
Awesome time.
But now you guys are stuck with just Dylan and Andrew for at least 6 episodes.
At least 6. Yeah, but I missed it. I'm not gonna lie.
No. I definitely like hanging out just with you. I've just got to recalibrate.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, I can't throw conversation to somebody who doesn't know a lot about Odyssey to let them talk.
Yeah.
I actually have to bring something to the table and add something constructive to the argument or conversation.
Wow.
I've been slacking, I'm not gonna lie.
I think you did great, Andrew.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm really good at meeting new people. I'm kind of like a dog like that.
Most dogs I know, not good at meeting new people. Isn't the kind of the thing with dogs? Is that they are all over new people in ways that are aggressive and not great?
Fair. But I'm friendly. I definitely I'm like a timid dog. Not, like an older dog. Not like a puppy.
Andrew Old Dog Sabo.
Yes. That's what they called me in high school. At homeschool.
In his parents' basement.
Yep. Literally. And I kept the lights off so I could focus.
Hey, at least it wasn't the crawl space.
Yep.
Oh, man. So,
what episode are we talking about, Dylan?
Oh, great question, Andrew. We're talking about episode 592, Now More Than Ever.
Certainly.
It's the start of our coverage of the 6-episode arc in which Mandy's parents might get divorced.
Yay. I mean, I'm excited to talk about it. I'm also heartbroken.
Yes. This is yet another arc where Dylan forces Andrew to come along with him on a journey that means a lot to him and maybe nothing to Andrew.
I have no memory of this arc, so this is great.
Yeah, it's in my sweet spot, as we've talked about many times.
Yes, certainly. And I was surprised that I didn't have more memory of this, because I know that I've listened to this album before. But yeah, no, I'm very excited to do it plot-wise and not album-wise, and just,
Yeah, it was a true and thorough bummer listening to it, though.
Yes, it was.
From a, very well made, I think what they are saying is mostly pretty good.
Yeah.
And, I liked the episode a lot. I also left just feeling sad.
So sad. I mean, this episode does not try and end on a happy note.
No.
Which is one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah, no, it's a different step for the show, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It is an episode written by Kathy Buchanan, friend of the show, and John Fornoff, and John Fornoff also directed it.
Yeah, Kathy really just, I mean, she gave with both hands on this episode. The dialogue is incredible, and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she had written it, and I didn't look it up while I was listening, but I definitely thought, I was like, this feels better than normal.
Yeah, well, there's just, I mean, she has a counseling background, and I think that comes through in her ability to write characters who feel real and feel like they are reacting in ways that humans react.
Yes.
Like, we've talked a lot about Odyssey in its sitcominess. This is like the least sitcom yet. Like, this is this is like an HBO episode,
Yes.
like on the scale of like what Odyssey can do. But like, this is the
character-driven, emotionally compelling.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's not, it's an episode of Mad Men, not an
Yes.
episode of, Full House.
Yeah.
Or an episode of like Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Like all the different, versions of Odysseys we get. This is a different one. And what does it say about me?
That this is the one you love so much.
That no, not now, but that like I had not listened to this. This episode first aired April 26, 2006. I'm sure I listened to it after that point, but I cannot imagine I didn't listen to this episode after like 2010, 2011. So 10 years have gone by. But like, kid me really invested in this episode.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what that says about me that I was like,
you love
oh
Mandy.
yes. I did love Mandy.
Yeah, and Mandy was a great character, and they do, like, I get why you love Mandy now, because if you listen to these episodes, you're like, she is so compelling. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. No, we absolutely will. And I think it's also, I don't know, we've done, it was refreshing too, to get some Paul Herlinger in this.
Oh, yeah.
After doing a bunch of old and new over the past stretch, doing a lot of Stoke Cub, but then also, covering a couple episodes with
Hal.
Yeah, with Hal Smith. I was just like, oh yes, Paul Herlinger as Wit. I do generally like him. In addition to Herlinger as Wit, we have Lauren Schaffel as Liz. So Liz Horton, character. We've run into her before, because her and Mandy are like best friends. She was in like 26 episodes in like 98 to 2007 range. And Mandy was in 54 in that same range. So Mandy was very much like core Odyssey kid, but then Liz was like, her best friend. And so Liz is around a bunch. Lauren Schaffel as an actress doesn't have a lot going on. She had a recurring role in the sitcom Still Standing, which is I have zero connection to, but does exist. The thing I am more excited for, she is playing a character called Amelia in the new season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Hot dog.
And now I'm like very excited. We'll likely have all these episodes recorded before that comes out, but this will be coming out in tandem with that new season airing, and I'm very excited for whoever Amelia is.
Yeah, she's gonna be rocking it, I hope.
Because
Amy doesn't do people wrong for the most part.
No. And Lauren Schaffel, great in this episode.
Great voice actor.
Like, she is fantastic as Liz. Everyone is doing an excellent job in this episode.
Yeah.
I think Aria Corzon as Mandy is always good. I think Lauren Schaffel's maybe punching a little bit better than her in this episode, but also she's doing a lot and doing it very well. And
it comes together beautifully, and it makes so much sense that this very relationship kind of heavy episode in this era of the show just kind of comes together so beautifully, because it has, all of the pieces to the team, if that makes sense, and in certain eras of Odyssey where they've had good writers and less good actors, or not great plot conveniences for relationships to happen, and at this point in the show.
Right. This feels like they have built on this so well, and this is the arc that, because of album 50 and whatnot, like, this is the arc that they go out on, essentially.
Yeah.
And so it's really great to feel like we've spent essentially 10 years
Yeah.
or 8 years at this point, kind of building up their relationships so that we can do something like this and it rings true.
Yeah.
So Arya Curzon, of note, was Ducky in Land Before Time 5 to 14, because we just got to keep Land Before Timing around here in Odyssey.
Yeah, obviously. Duh.
She also played Pebbles in Cave Kids, which was a Flintstones cartoon,
Okay.
and Corn Chip Girl in Recess.
Oh.
So
I don't remember Recess well enough, but her name was Corn Chip? Okay. What a
Believe
fever
it's a
dream of a
nickname.
show. All right.
Additionally, we've got Robbie Rist as David, which is Mandy's brother. He had been in, has been in 15 episodes total, was voiced by a different actor up until these kind of 6 that we round out their stuff with, in which Robbie Rist takes over. Robbie Rist was Cousin Oliver in the Brady Bunch. Famous character there. Also voice of Michelangelo in the 90s Turtles movies. Like the weird, like animatronic-y kind of ones.
Yeah.
And also the does the dub for Koji Akamichi in Naruto.
Oh. So I've heard his voice plenty then. How about that? Wow, he must be making bread off that credit.
We also have, continuing to round out the family, Vanessa Marshall plays Rachel. This is Mandy's mom. She had appeared in 9 episodes total, but is only voiced by Vanessa Marshall in these last 6.
Oh, okay.
This is, kind of becomes a theme. Up till then, she had been voiced by a different person every time, essentially, including Kathy Buchanan voicing her in an episode, which is fun. But Vanessa Marshall, an actress I adore. Most notably to me, Black Canary in Young Justice, but also Hera in Rebels.
Oh. Oh.
Mary Jane in the Spectacular Spider-Man, Wonder Woman in the Harley Quinn show that's been coming out. Like, she's got...
I've got a complex relationship with Mandy's mom. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, she's
Peel back the curtain.
got over 200 IMDb credits, and is great in everything I have heard her in.
Yeah.
And does once again an excellent job in this episode. And then our last character to cover, we've got Steven, the husband / father. Nathan Carlson voices him of Richard Maxwell fame.
Yeah. And a million other characters.
Oh, sure. Also, Digger Digwillow. Or no, wait, not Digger. Digger's someone else. I don't know. Nathan Carlson's done a lot on the show. We've talked about him a million times.
Voices crackers. According to the IMDb.
Well, there's that too. But yeah. that is our man, Nathan Carlson, coming in to play Steven. And I think,
yeah.
Just continuing the great pedigree that this, like, top to bottom, great cast this episode.
Yeah, they don't miss. That's like all-star. I mean, considering we don't have any major, like, Connie's not in this, Eugene's not in this,
right?
You know, Jack and Joanne, obviously, like Bernard, Wooten. None of those main staple characters are in this. It's kids and Wit and kids' parents. Yeah, they really just balled out, and I guess they probably could afford to because they didn't have to pay Will Ryan to be on the episode. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm never quite sure how that budget stuff works, and also like this might be early enough in someone like Vanessa Marshall's career where that's like where she's less in demand than she is now or whatever. Also, it seems like I don't know, voice acting and whatnot seems to be it's fairly easy for them to wrangle talent in Odyssey, as we've covered a million times. But like everyone's doing a great job in this episode,
certainly.
And
do you want to roll the promo then?
I think I'm gonna roll the promo, Andrew.
Oh my gosh, let's do it.
On the next Adventures in Odyssey, Liz investigates Mandy's continuing strange behavior, leading to a strange discovery.
What's going on with your family? Keep your nosy nose out of it.
Why do things seem so perfect and yet so very wrong at Mandy's house? And why does Mandy not want anyone to know about it? Find out what's going on next time on Adventures in Odyssey.
Okay.
I hate the melodrama that creates.
Yeah, that was very... What? Okay, I mean, I suppose... Nope, I'm gonna come in hard against it. Of all the ways you could have advertised it, you chose that way.
Yeah, the thing that promo alludes to is saying, like, Mandy continues to be sad or whatever. And so there is an episode that we opted not to cover because it didn't make sense for the scope of our show. But there is an episode before this, the one in which Rusty from previously The Bones of Wrath publishes his book. That's like a whole episode on like the Lost and Found album.
Yeah.
And part of that is there's like a tiny subplot in which Mandy is sad. And I listened through that episode and was like, no, we're not going to cover this.
Yeah.
Like it technically ties in, but it just doesn't make sense.
No, we'll save that for the Bones of Wrath arc we're doing next year.
Yeah. Yep. No, hey, Andrew, don't spoil that. Coming in 2023, a year that doesn't exist.
And I'm not entirely convinced it will.
Oof.
So the episode kicks off with Liz and Mandy talking at wit's end. And Liz... They come in on Liz profusely offering to buy Mandy a drink, a Marshmallow Mountain milkshake, the Triple M, as it were. And Mandy is not hungry and thinks that she wants to go home, so she leaves.
Also, that sounds really bad to me, and I'm a milkshake guy.
Yeah, I love milkshakes. Marshmallows in it. I mean, the slurping process, that your straw is just going to get clogged if there's actual marshmallows in there.
And if they're blended, that's just sugar.
Yes, and if it's blended, that's just sugar, and it will congeal on the inside of your straw.
It just feels like a hat on a hat.
Yeah. Which is funny, but not tasty.
Yeah. I think that's canonically a new menu item on the Wits End menu, though. So now we know that.
Mushroom Mountain. Different. That's only when Eugene's running the counter. He brought in some psilocybin samples from Campbell County Community College.
Campbell University.
Yes. My alma mater. So then Mandy leaves, and then Liz goes immediately and just starts talking to Whit about how weird Mandy is.
Why don't we have Campbell County Community College t-shirts made? Like, it's weird that we haven't
oversight. It's
weird that we haven't done that because it's so easy, and it's also weird that none of the other people who make bootleg Odyssey merch have done it, because it feels like someone would have covered that by now.
Yeah. Or I mean, is there Odyssey Owls merch anywhere?
No, but there is Odenton Ogres.
Yeah. No, that's the only ones I care about. I'm pro ogre. I'm Ogre the Owls.
One of my prouder moments, honestly.
That was really good design work. It came together beautifully.
Oh, man.
So Liz complains to Whit that Mandy's been grumpy and unlike herself. And Whit gives pretty good advice.
But he's playing dumb, right?
Yes, yeah. He does that a lot.
He's like, what? She didn't seem that off. Like, what do you mean, Whit? She seemed off.
Yeah, she totally seemed off. You could just say it's none of my business.
Or are you oblivious now to human emotion?
I don't know. I really don't, because there was another moment like that between Liz and Whit later in the episode where Liz says something and Whit just says, "So what do you think's happening?" And you're like, I feel like it's pretty clear what you think is happening.
the note I wrote here, because like I said, while I have good memories of these episodes, I don't remember these episodes, like how they play out. I mean, I know like how they play out grand scale, but whatever. And I was just like, oh no, this is going to be an episode where the character of Connie is played by Liz.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, oh, she's going to bumble through this entire thing and screw up, and it's going to be Whit lecturing her.
Yeah. And exactly, I mean, the episode begins like that, and it does kind of feel sitcom-y in that, because Whit gives decent advice. Be patient. Just let it, it'll happen if it happens. And then Liz is like, it's a boy problem, and she runs out of the store.
Yep.
And she runs over to Mandy's and wants to talk to Mandy about boy drama and stuff. And
she's trying to pin down who she has a crush on, because that's got to be what's bumming her out. And there was a guy that she missed as a lab partner. And then Liz starts rattling through a bunch of, potential candidates and gets really caught up on people named David, which is very relatable in that there were like a million Davids that I knew growing up. Yeah. I
am Groot.
No, not grooting up, growing up. The main character of Despicable Me.
Oh, okay.
It's just where you get more hunched, bald, and a bigger nose. Over time. It's growing up.
That's good. I like this. As a term for human growth and development.
Also, can we just agree right here, right now? Gru is a bad ripoff of Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, Doofenshmirtz was incredible.
Yeah.
They did so much with that character.
Yeah, no, they really did. And, like, when we see him as a child, I feel like it's very similar to when we see Gru as a child. Like, they're the same character.
Yeah, pretty much.
But one is funny and not voiced by Steve Carell.
He's voiced by the creator of Phineas and Ferb.
It's true.
Yeah, no. Interesting. Never made that comparison before. I'm so glad we're talking about this on the Adventures in Odyssey show.
Andrew, if they've been here this long, they should expect it.
Fair.
But
I underestimate the squad.
The point I was making is that growing up, there were a lot of kids named David around me. And so rattling off a bunch of Davids, very funny. And the beautiful punchline of Liz saying Mandy's brother's name and then just being like, oh, wait, I just got caught up on David's.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah, no, that just works for me.
I think we might have it a little bit harder here, and only because we have so many people with the same last name. So there can be multiple Martins of completely different family trees with the exact same name. Like, you could know 3 different Ben Martins.
Sure. I don't know that I know any double namers. Like, true. Oh, okay, I know one, but it is a... So, like, I know 2 but one is and one is
Yeah.
And I'm cutting that so that I don't dox my friends.
Yeah. No doxing. No doxing today.
I always find that funny when people like first name, last name on a podcast, and then someone like calls them out for doxing, and I'm like, okay, sure, but also,
yeah,
like if you're just mentioning them in passing, like I was, I think you're fine.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody's going to go steal their credit card information because they were mentioned on a podcast. At least not anybody that wasn't already going to steal their credit card information.
Spoiler alert, it was me. I was the identity thief all along.
We're going to steal the moon's identity. Yeah, so Liz then begins to press Mandy about things not going, like being
I don't know,
normal.
Andrew. I don't think we spent enough time on the "that's my brother" joke.
Fair. I mean, it is a really good joke, and it did make me laugh a lot.
It's one of my favorite, like, comic tropes.
Yes.
The, like, listing things off and them, like, and then you list, like, either they get more and more ridiculous or you do something like this, and then the other person has to call it out, and you're like, oh shoot, I just got lost, or okay, maybe I stretched a bit on the last one, or whatever, like that. I like that as a trope.
Yeah,
and
no,
I think
it's so funny, especially because they're all named David, and it ends with like, oh, David Strasberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it landed very well.
That's
for
my
me.
brother.
Yeah, she's like, oh, yeah. I was just naming all the Davids.
Yep,
my bad.
Yep.
Yeah. So Liz then proceeds to press Mandy a decent bit about what's going on. Mandy's very uncomfortable. And Liz is like, why haven't I spent the night here in a long time? Which was very uncomfortable for me to hear. Like, I had some like secondhand cringe of like you inviting yourself to spend the night. But mostly
which you would never do.
Not without the consent of the person that I was spending the night with. Like, we would totally team up against the parents to make it happen. That's different. But like, I'm not gonna be like, why haven't I spent the night? Like,
no, I guess the moral is that Andrew and I are we're too socially in our own heads to do this sort of thing.
Yes, I have too much fear.
But Liz just straight up she's like, you've been acting like depressed, and I'm like, yes, she is. Thanks for like
calling it.
Yep. I appreciate that in the year of our Lord 2006, even though like I have no idea to what degree that's going to actually be unpacked, and it isn't even a Mandy acknowledging that she's depressed here.
No,
but this is like, this is good old fashioned depression. And she didn't even have a cell phone.
No, she didn't even need social media for that, which makes my heart really goes out to Mandy. She's really trying her best.
So then Mandy finally caves and is like, all right, Liz, come over for dinner.
Yeah.
And to sleep over. And then we get the most brutal scene in all of Odyssey. Like,
this is the Scott's tots of
it's genuinely incredible.
Yes.
But listening to it is painful because everyone is performing so well, and it's well scripted, but it's also really well like directed and edited.
Timed. Like,
yes,
like
the timing of it where every pause is just long enough for your skin to crawl a bit. And it feels super true to life.
Oh yeah.
Like,
because the mom's initiating the conversation, like, oh, it's so nice to be here, and Mandy's like, or not Mandy, Liz is like, oh yeah, it's good to be back.
But like the thing I think, like, it's the mom initiating conversation, sure, like Rachel's doing good, but I think where it really like crystallizes is when Liz is aware enough to understand that things are really awkward here, and starts trying to like take it upon herself to make conversation happen, which is where like the whole sauce thing comes from.
It's tangy, it's spicy.
And I
like it. No, I really feel for it. And also, I mean, I think the thing that this episode, and looking back, having finished the episode, in hindsight, this scene in particular depicts how much the kids themselves know about their parents' relationship, which I didn't know how much Mandy knew about what was going on. And it turns out very, very little. And that carries a lot more weight in this scene where Liz is coming in from spending time with her own family, with outside perspective, not having been a part of a gradual, like, 4-month change.
Right.
And,
that 4 months is crucial when they, like, spell out the timeline of things. And you're like, because afterwards, on initial listen or whatever, you don't necessarily, like, Mandy is talking to Liz, and Liz is like is asking about dinner and whatever, and like kind of like, or maybe that's in a later scene, but regardless, like when she brings up dinner, Mandy is very much like in denial about it.
Yeah, like,
And on initial listen, you can't tell, is she trying to save face with Liz and like keep the secret, or like has the slow falling apart of this whole thing made her not realize?
yeah,
And then like, yeah, upon finishing or upon second listen, like it really confirms like, oh no, like there is a level of denial, but it's not Mandy intentionally hiding this stuff from Liz.
Yeah.
Mandy doesn't know why she's feeling the way she is.
because her parents are talking about, like,
Yeah, because she's been in a household for 4 months now with that level of tension. And I'm sure it built over time. But like that, yeah, she is a kid and doesn't have the perspective to know why she's feeling these feelings. And I think
certainly.
that plays so well on the second listen.
Yeah. And so, like you said, it goes from, well, I don't want to move on for family dinner yet, because mom and dad mom starts riding dad about peas, not offering peas, and dad's like, the peas are right in front of her, to which I'm like, yeah, Dad, the peas are right in front of her. She wants the peas, she can get the peas. But
it's the sort of comment that you could make if there wasn't that kind of tension.
Yes.
But it just shows like how quick this stuff can rise to the surface.
Yeah.
Because like you could have a Barkley family dinner where, you know, Mary's like, hey, George, can you pass Jimmy the peas? And, you know, George is like, they're right in front of him. And it plays totally fine, funny.
Like a
they're
joke.
Just, right.
Yeah.
They're just like,
oh,
you know,
haha.
Right. It's just, you know, family dynamics, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, everyone's mom has done that sort of thing. Like that plays well. But then like this, it just like, it shows how quickly they can let that stuff like rise to the surface, because like she says that and he's basically just like in an almost a snap is just like, they're right in front of her.
Yeah.
And it's like neither of these people, or especially like him towards like Stephen towards Rachel in that moment, is like not giving any grace or benefit of the doubt. It's just like, I'm immediately on the defense. You asked for a thing, and that like, because we don't get along right now, I'm going to get defensive rather than just doing the thing or being like, oh no, I don't. Like, it's fine, she's good. But that immediate, like, his kind of knee-jerk response is very much like, you don't get to ask me to do things. Like that. Yeah. Like, don't pretend. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
was very much like, leave. Yeah. Well, and in that instance, I think the adults are acting more like the children in the instance. And the kids are kind of oblivious because... as to what's going on, and
but it's so good because it's like, because Rachel is not asking it with ill intent. She is just, and she's also not asking it because she thinks Liz needs peas. She's just trying to say anything.
Yeah,
like she wants there to be something to break the tension.
Yeah,
and he feels attacked by it and lashes back, and like. Yeah, it just like so it does the opposite of what she wants. but yeah, it's really
good,
well
and the
written and performed.
Yes, and the audio engineering of the knives on the plates and the food and the awkward silence it's just perfect.
Yep.
It's so good. The spatial awareness of like plates moving from one side to the other and everything is just, it's awesome.
Yeah. And like, so they go upstairs and Mandy is like, I'm going to take the sleeping bag. You know, Liz takes the bed, but she says it in like the most like just dejected, matter of fact way.
Yeah.
That then like, cause once again, textually, hey, you take the bed, I'll be in the sleeping bag.
Yeah.
That like, just purely written out as a sentence raises zero red flags.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh yeah, that's what you do
Yeah.
when you're having a friend over or whatever. Like, cool. Like, but because of her performance and everything else that's going on here, it's like the weight of that is so strong. And once again, Liz is just like, you sure about that, man? Like, you don't sound great. And then
sleep in your bed and everything, and then and then David comes in.
Yep.
And
he comes through the
talking.
door. Once again, tensions immediately rise where he just comes in. He's like, "Did you go into my room?" And Mandy's like, "Yeah, you had like a pillow and you've got others." And he's like, "Well, don't do that.
Don't ever go into my room ever." And then Mandy's like, "I don't want to go into your room anyway. It smells bad." And then they leave.
Yep. Well, then...
No. Yeah, David talks to
because Liz is like, as David's walking out of the room, Liz is like, "Oh, I'll see you at the youth retreat this weekend or whatever." And David is just kind of like, "No, I don't do that anymore."
Yeah.
And after he leaves, Mandy's kind of like, "Yeah, he's been hanging out with like a different group of friends. Like he doesn't really interact with Alex." And
yeah.
And
then Liz is like, "Alex, they used to be so close," and all of that. And it's. I mean, and the way that Mandy says it is kind of unfortunate. She's like, "Oh yeah, he's running with a different crowd," which I don't know who he's running with. If he's running with, drug
maybe
dealers
he's with the
stuff.
Bones of Wrath.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he's taking hits off of Henny.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know how far he's gone.
How far is he backslid? Liz presses Mandy.
Yep, to the verge
hard.
of tears.
Yes, literally, the scene goes out on Mandy like tearing up, being like, "I just want to go to bed."
Yeah, the line that like, the Liz is like, you understand her heart is in the right place, and she's doing all of this with empathy, which is what separates it from the Connie trope.
Yeah,
is Connie does it with obliviousness. Liz
how could you be feeling
it's like good intentions with obliviousness. This is like good intentions with like being a child. She's not oblivious to Mandy's feelings here at all. She's very aware of them. She's
more aware of them than Mandy is.
Right. She's just not equipped with how to handle this.
Yeah, certainly.
Because she's a kid and this is her best friend. And like, I think... Yeah, one of the things that this episode, like when we were talking through cast in the beginning and talking about like, these characters have only Mandy's appeared in like 50 some episodes and her parents have appeared in like less than 10.
Yeah.
And like that whole thing, I feel like really primed them for this to be an arc that they could do. Because you have Mandy and Liz, who are very well-established characters in Odyssey.
And you have their relationship.
You have their family who we know, but the Strasbergs are not an Odyssey family. They're not the Washingtons or the Barclays or, the Parkers now. Like, they don't have... You couldn't do this sort of thing... Like, I don't think Odyssey would be willing to go this dark with their relationship if these were characters who we already knew.
Interesting.
Like,
yeah,
I feel
definitely.
Like they do this to a lesser extent with like It's a Pokenberry Christmas.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is like the closest we can get to this sort of thing before. And like we talked about those episodes and they do it very well and whatever. But it's that like they have a much longer leash here because they're not core to the show in the same way. Mandy, who we get to see we get to experience all this through her eyes. She is core to the show. But I can't imagine her parents have ever said more than a line to each other prior to this.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, because they're only ever there to prop her up.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, we can now like focus in on them and bring back David and like dig into him with, he's older, he's got a new voice actor, whatever. But you don't have that same, like, the Strasbergs aren't sacred.
Yeah. In the same way that the Barclays are. And a lot of my frustrations that I have with this episode is not necessarily in the episode itself. It's more so how the parents and the characters behave and the way that they communicate to each other about what they're experiencing and everything. And it's, I mean, this is an older episode, came out in 2006, and obviously there wasn't as much psychoeducation and things like that, and also intentionality from like the general cultural zeitgeist to communicate with children in an effective way for like their own well-being and stuff like that, where what I see happening, at least in Mandy and the Strasberg family's relationship, is there are these parents that like went to church, knew all the stuff, they had issues, they were working to make it better, but they weren't telling anybody about it because that's shameful and that's a problem. And they're also not talking to their kids about it, but their kids are witnessing it, and it's obviously affecting their kids in a significant way.
And we get the feeling just through this little bit, like just in this one episode, of like they are like Rachel and Steven are so worried about their own relationship and so on edge about that that they really don't know what's going on with their kids.
100%.
And it's that thing where I'm like, it is heartbreaking and tough and
real,
right? And it doesn't feel like and I like how they do that. The thing that's always going to be tough talking about an arc like this is that, like, we know... I think that this is a very realistic depiction of this situation. This is not the only way it can go down. Certainly. And Odyssey is always going to paint it in that way of, like, divorce is going to be so traumatic. Yeah. And it's like... absolutely in this situation, and I'm glad you guys took it upon yourself to handle it in this way. But like that lens that we always have to view stuff through, of kind of like what's below the surface on the focus side of things. And it's like, this is like, this is what they think everything looks like, probably, or this is what they are like depicting as like every relationship that is failing is for, like, looks like this, is for these reasons, is destroying the lives of these kids. And it's like, no, there are many relationships that are improved by not being together.
Certainly. Well, and especially, like, we don't know that they don't talk about how they met or how old they were when they had kids and what that was like for them and all of that. Like, there is a certain disconnect, and hopefully we do learn more about that in the coming episodes.
I just wanted to establish that as we track with this and as we empathize with these characters who are going through something real, also realizing that, like, even though they are going through something real, this is not like the monolith. Like, we don't need to like project this onto every troubled kid around us in a way that I feel like the show probably would like us to.
Yes, certainly. No. There's definitely a kind of call to action at the end where it's like, well, they need you the most right now. And that is true. And when...
Right, this is the thing. It's like, I don't think telling kids to empathize with their friends who are going through tough stuff is a bad message.
No, not at all.
Like, I don't, like, that's the line I'm trying to walk here, where I'm like, we never want to give full-fledged endorsement to this show. But I also don't want to discount the impact that this episode can have on someone in a positive light, just because the thing that is making it happen is bad.
Well, and it's the emotional representation of people going through tough experiences like that, like, Mandy is written and acted so perfectly. Like, all of the emotions that she does not say are like hundreds of words. She is just incredible in this episode.
And so it kind of...
They're having the conversation in their room, as we said, and
go to sleep.
Yeah.
Liz wakes up in the middle of the night, goes to get a drink of water. Mandy, great performance of, like, the half-awake friend, whatever.
Yeah.
Liz walks out and sees, like, Mandy's dad on the couch and freaks out.
Well, she doesn't see him. She hears him, which I thought that he was knocking boots with somebody. Which I didn't think that was going to be the case, but it did not sound like snoring. It was like a lot of grunting, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't know how this is going to go down, but if Liz overhears an affair.
Oh, my word. Imagine.
I mean, now I understand he was just grunting and rolling around on a couch, but
I don't know if there's a train wreck I want to see more than the Odyssey tackles adultery train wreck.
Yeah, no, well, and considering it, I really empathized with Liz running into the room being like, what's going on? But she thinks it's like a monster or something, and Mandy's
because
like,
it's the middle of the night and she is a child.
Yes. And Mandy's like, oh, my dad's sleeping on the couch. He snores really loud. He is, and then Liz presses and was like, oh, well, did he just start snoring? Like, is this a recent issue? And and Mandy's like, it's allergy season. And Liz is like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
And then we go to Liz and Whit talking about Mandy at Whit's End.
Yeah.
Again.
This I think is probably my least favorite scene of the episode. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Whit's not doing the best. Here
The thing is that he does something, and it's not his role to do anything, but I can understand how the show has him pitched in this light in the town where it's like, it's not weird for Whit to be like, hey, your kid seemed off. Is everything going all right at home?
Right. And so, Liz opens up to Whit about this stuff, and Whit does, I am glad, say, like, married couples don't always get along perfectly. He mentions, an argument he had with Jenny.
Jenny.
Which was just like right. I often
was
forget
married.
that Whit was married. Because he is just a perpetual bachelor. But no, as was so greatly pointed out on our coverage of Choices, Whit is just a man propped up by dead women.
Yes, 100%. He is a 130-year-old man propped up by dead women.
But yeah, and then he's like, I'll call the Strasbergs, and I'm just like, that is so bizarre. I do not understand boundary lines.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
He's like fishing for info, basically, because she's like, I'm worried, I don't know what's going on. And Whit's like, oh, I'll call and find out.
Right.
What?
I'm like,
you're the adult. You're supposed to be like, some things you can't control.
Right.
But that's just
pray. No, Whit can control everything. But then he does,
He does give good advice at the end.
Yeah. Where he's like, take some time, pray for her, be there for her when she is like, even if she looks like she's mad, she's going to be glad you care deep down.
Yeah. And when she's not distracted by the pain that she's experiencing.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
I was going to say, that is, on one hand, presumptuous, but on the other hand, in line with my experience.
Yes. Well, and, I mean, in line with the Bible, I think, too. Just that, if you can see people in their hurt and recognize that they might hurt you in their hurt as well, not because they don't value you, but because that's just what their life experience is bringing them, and it's not unique to them. I do that too. Whit does tell Liz to pray for Mandy, and I think that's really good.
And Liz is like, but I want to actually do something. And Whit's like, look, pray. We then get once again, great performance. I should stop beating this drum, but also so good.
No,
but Liz shows up and you can tell Rachel was just crying. And she opens the door and asks
Like
for Mandy to
sniffles?
come out.
Yeah.
Right. And Liz and Mandy go for a walk after, she does a little bit of prodding, and they're talking about
Alan, what's his last name?
I don't remember.
I didn't write it down, but he
They're
has
talking
foot
about
fungus.
His foot fungus. And this whole bowling thing, and it's just like, it's a funny anecdote. There's a moment where Mandy goes like, do you have a crush on
Alan with
right.
the foot fungus?
And it just, it plays so well of like, she is still a kid.
Yeah.
Like, she can, like, for a moment, her mind is like taken off of this.
Yeah.
And then, it very clearly sets up like Liz is doing that whole thing to avoid, like talking about the foot fungus guy, just to avoid having the real conversation that she wanted to go there for, which is so freaking relatable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The small talk before you talk about the hard thing.
Just like the needing to psych yourself up for one of those conversations. And yeah, Liz pushes in hard here.
Yes.
And it's just like, look, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's once again where we're like, you don't know, does Mandy not realize what's going on, or is she trying to keep Liz out of it? And
Yes.
it does play more as she is trying to keep Liz out of it.
It does. Yeah, because even at this point, you still do not know how much Mandy knows about the problems of her marriage, because her parents' marriage.
Yeah. And I feel for Liz. I think that I don't know, a little vulnerable. Like, my thing is never the pushing too hard.
Yeah.
Mine is that I will stop immediately once we brush into that territory, or just kind of like, I want to be there for a person so that they like have me to talk to, but I'm not good at like initiating that conversation.
Yeah, you don't want to bring them to that point.
But like, not forcefully.
Yes,
but
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I could personally do a better job of trying to make that conversation happen. Where
Is there something
usually
you need to talk to me about, Dylan?
where I feel like usually I'm just kind of like, hey, how are you doing? And they kind of say like, oh yeah, it's been rough, but it's getting better. And I'm just like, all right, that's glad to hear that. And then we just move on to something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't feel like I'm good at continuing that conversation past the initial check-in. Which I think in a lot of cases means like I'm not serving people's needs particularly well. I'm just there. Yeah. And I don't once again, being there, better than nothing.
Yes,
It's just like,
100%.
as like, I look at this, I'm like, oh, okay, like Liz and I have the opposite problem. Like we're both doing the right thing in like being a friend, but there's a balance between the two of us that would be better.
Yeah, I definitely skew more Liz-like, where I'll unknowingly press too hard into a subject or ask too many questions and just be like, oh, like, not really pick up on either the nonverbal cues that they don't really want to talk about it or whatever, and just be like, oh, obviously this isn't fun, but you're still talking about it, so I can keep asking these questions. But yeah, no, I definitely agree that there's got to be a very hard middle ground to find between holding space and giving space,
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if you figure it out, email me, please.
And then the fantastic Mandy, this just escalating to her going, keep your nosy nose out of it.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's great delivery. It's a funny line. It's very much
They use it in the promo and the teaser.
They really do. It's very much the precursor to the best line of Scott Pilgrim, a movie with a million great lines.
Fair.
Where he goes, "You cocky." And it's
I haven't seen that movie in forever. Oh man,
great movie.
great movie.
Yeah, watch Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. The views of Dylan Weaver do in fact represent that of the Log Fam Josh Pod. Watch Scott Pilgrim.
So yeah, when Liz gets back to Strasburgs.
Whit is there.
Right. Or sorry, when Mandy gets back. Regardless, when they get back to the Strasburgs, Whit is there. And he had dropped by and is leaving.
Yeah, which is very suspicious and like very awkward and definitely well written. Coming at it from Mandy's perspective, you get to feel the awkwardness in a very palpable way. And then Whit leaves, and he's kind of awkward too. And then Mandy goes and talks to David about Whit being there.
Right, and this is like her first. It feels like this is Mandy starting to come to terms here, and we kind of get this thing like established between the two of them of like, oh, like Mandy is full blown in denial about this. David has gone the other direction and just completely checked out.
Yeah.
And just gone like, I don't care. I can't do anything here. Like, I'm out.
He's clearly stress eating, though. He eats an entire pizza and then washes it down with ice cream. And I understand the young kid eats a lot trope, but
Sure.
It's raising some concerns.
Well, and so... Yeah, Rachel comes in and lets the kids know that she's going out to dinner with her husband, with Steven. And Mandy just like lights up. It's just like, oh, can't you see? Like Whit came here. He talked some sense into them. Like they're going out. They're going to patch things up.
Whit's going to save my
It's
parents'
so nice.
marriage.
Right. She's just like, stay out as late as you want. Like we
Yeah.
can take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Whatever. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, no. And I didn't know how the dinner was going to go or what the conclusion of this episode was going to look like. I knew the moment that she got excited that it was not going to be good, unfortunately. And it does come crashing down.
Yeah. And so they get back. And
They
pull
ask
the kids in.
Sit down.
Yep.
Not a good sign.
Yeah, and announce that they're going to separate in hopes that if they get some space, they'll be able to rebuild things.
Yeah.
But they've just decided that
Her
that's...
dad's moving out tonight.
Right.
Was the timeline, and he's living in a hotel till he can find an apartment.
Yep. And the thing that I think is the best part of this scene is immediately a very strong reaction from David. Because he has been checked out.
Yeah.
I'm above this. I already know all this stuff,
I don't
Mandy.
care. Yeah.
Like, I don't care. And when they say it, immediately he's just like, he reacts and is just like, no. Like, like that visceral reaction and the vulnerability and the like, oh, he is still a child. He is not actually above this.
Yeah, no,
like,
he's just viscerally reacting.
Right. like he can talk all this game about it's obvious they haven't talked in 4 months. You really think they're gonna they're not gonna split up? And then as soon as it's actually talked about, you feel in that performance just oh, this is deeply affecting him.
Yeah, it's so it's really good that they give him that nod. And honestly, I feel bad for David because I feel like he has checked out because he wasn't communicated with his parents and everything, and he probably picked up on the fact that things were changing. And even earlier at dinner, he asked for peas and his parents completely ignored him to bicker about the peas.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And and that comes up again, and obviously there's the situation with Mandy and his room and everything. I'm surprised at how much I like David's character. Considering he's just Mandy's brother in this episode,
Sure, yeah.
And their parents say marriage is designed to be forever, and but they don't want it to be. But it's just not. And
it's that we know marriage is designed to be forever, but we also can't mend this. Yeah. And you feel a lot of the reason that they weren't talking about this is that immense guilt they have as Christians to be like, we can't be having these problems because like that is like goes against what we believe.
Yeah, that we're inherently broken.
And I'm glad that is like part of the text of the episode.
Yes, 100%.
Like I'm sure we might be reading in our own experience and whatnot, but like the fact that is
it's
just
performed that way though,
right? That they are playing this as like part of the reason that we've been so distant and can't talk about this and have shut everyone else out is because like we feel immense guilt about like failing our duty morally.
Yeah,
you know, before God.
Yes,
and
which is understandable.
It's once again, it's so real.
Yeah,
that is exactly how you react when this is like the environment you are in.
Yeah. And Mandy begs her parents to stay together.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's
and they reveal in this that like they've been going to counseling.
Yeah.
Which like
they tried and it didn't work. Good for them.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like Aria Curzon giving a phenomenal performance. Like I know I commented earlier about her being shaky in this episode, and I think she is doing a very good job. She has to do a lot, and I think in those early scenes she's maybe not like you can see through it a little bit, but like she brings it here.
Yes.
And then like runs over to Liz's.
Is it raining?
I don't think it's raining.
Maybe it's
but
not
she
raining.
knocks on the door. Liz opens it. She's just like, my parents are separating, and they just start crying together. And that's what we go out on.
And Liz says, I don't know, which is the best response to anybody that is asking for reason for suffering. And it's just, I don't have the answer. I'm sorry.
Right.
I didn't solve that algebra equation yet. But she says, we'll get through this. It's so good. Like, that the way that this episode ended in that with that specific dialogue and it going out on that, I was like, oh no, this is a good one. This is different.
This
is built different.
It's so good. It has. I mean, we've talked about it. Like there are moments where it could have been a Connie trope. It could have like there are things that they could have done that were really bad, and I think where the episode is the weakest is where wit has to be involved because it's Odyssey.
Yes.
And like we don't have that many characters.
Yeah.
We've got Paul Harlinger on contract. Like this is just like the way this has to go. And I think that like it still does a good job with that. And I think that there is good wit stuff in this episode, but I think that is maybe the weakest piece of it for me. Is like, okay, what is the relationship of these parents to wit that he can come in and speak into their life, and then that like kicks things off. But yeah, it's so good, and it benefits so much from 8 years of Mandy and Liz being friends in Odyssey.
Yeah, and going through Novacom and all of that. Like, I went back and looked at what episodes that Liz and Mandy, or Liz was in. Because I remember more of Mandy's, but...
Yeah, but I mean, we covered the one where they, the Boy in the Woods episode. We've...
The W.E.
I
know Liz is in it. I don't know if Mandy's in it or not.
I don't remember offhand. But, like, these are characters that have been given a lot of time to be established in the show, and it really pays off because they're able to do this sort of an arc, and you buy it.
Yeah, and I buy it. I'm buying in. I'm investing my stock in this arc. Not Odyssey, but this one. I think that this will be good. Yeah. I hope it doesn't get worse from here.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to go through this for the next next few weeks. Like it's like 6 episodes of an arc. Like it'll be pretty breezy.
Before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad that it's not longer because I could not deal with this level
prolonged
of
Mandy suffering.
Yeah.
I don't think my heart. This podcast is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Yep. So come along with us on the bummer episodes for the next stretch here.
Oh, but they're good people episodes.
Oh my word,
they're such good people episodes.
The thing I've said forever is like Odyssey does characters so well, and it's like a lot of what my affection for this show is just like they have these characters, this deeply connected universe, and it's just brings me joy.
Deep existential dread about how they're going to write off Will Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. Maybe that's when this podcast ends.
Yeah.
If they do something terrible with Eugene, do we give up?
Yeah, and the thing is, I think we'll have to cover it if it's Buck, and it's got to be because it's Eugene.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, wow, a bummer to end a bummer.
You know what's more sad than divorce? Death.
Yeah. Well, it feels really rotten for me to go ahead and say review us on iTunes, but I'm saying it. So please, folks, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. And who knows, maybe by the time this episode's out, the 5-star system will be up on Spotify. It's been announced. It's coming.
Woohoo!
So, I know that the majority of you listen on Spotify. So, or at least the plurality of you. More people listen on Spotify than any other platform. So, if there is a star rating system on Spotify at the point of this episode, leave us a review. If there's not, keep that in mind for when there is.
Yes, certainly. And tell a friend that you think might care about Odyssey or this podcast.
Yeah,
if
and
you've
maybe
listened to it.
And maybe start them with like a fun episode.
Yes, not this one.
Like if you're looking for an episode to start someone off on the Odyssey adventure with, might I suggest episodes where the people we have on as guests don't know about the show?
Yes.
Have them on for The Devil Made Me Do It or Soulfully Devoted. There are so many good options that,
Yeah,
are
certainly.
less of a bummer.
Well, and I mean, that's for people that don't have any history with Odyssey.
Right.
And if you just know people that like Odyssey and don't know about the show,
Right.
then they can just start wherever.
That's true.
We got a big back
I
catalog.
know. We've covered all 3 of the big arcs. So
Yeah.
if they were a kid who grew up on Blackguard or Novacom or Green Ring, there's a
got it
little
all.
something for them.
We got it all down here at the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Yeah. And Campbell County Community College merch coming soon.
Andrew just pointed at me. I guess that's going to have to happen.
That's what it means. If you point, it must happen.
Yep. And with all that being said, we will be back next week talking about episode 597, Out of Our Hands. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wad Fam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Now More Than Ever is hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Osago, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.